Just wait for a few more people to join. Jim, what's happening? You guys just tell me if you can hear me or not. Jim, what's happening? There we go. Got the delay on my thing. You guys can see me all good and everything's all sweet. This is the first time I'm doing this live through StreamYard, so I want to get more of these done leading up into the season. So I thought I'd just suss it out, see how we go. Then doing a normal video at night. Oh, that's good. That's good. There's a few things I just want to touch base on tonight. Probably go on a bit of a rant too, so I thought it would be better to do it on a live. There's a few people joining in now, which is pretty cool. So please feel free to leave stuff in the comments and we can have a chat. And then I'm going to do this a little bit more over the next few weeks leading into the season, probably get a few people on, do some one-on-ones, have a quick chat. And then my plan is before the season, just a few of us boys getting together and doing like a bit of a round table, bit of a discussion leading into opening round. So I'll probably do that after the practice game. So I've got a clear view of the players that we've seen and whatnot going forward. So excuse the motion in the background. My missus is playing The Sims on PlayStation. So perfect timing. But yeah, leave some comments and stuff, and we'll get to it now because we've got a few people in already, which is good. So thanks for joining. This is the first time that I've done this, as I said. So I don't know, I'm probably a little bit more nervous as I would be filming the usual videos, but it is what it is. I'm obviously using the basic version of StreamYard, not the paid $100 a month version. Probably not at that point yet, I would have thought. But so in my last few videos, I've done like player focus videos and just some spotlight on a few players. We've done Jordan De Goey. My last one I did was Hoskin Elliott. I've done one on Crispy, and I think I did another one as well on another player as well. But probably the one that I wanted to talk about today is probably one of our most important players, which I don't think gets enough recognition. And he did, like, obviously from the AFL last season, but probably the one player on our team who structurally is the most important. You've got your De Goeys, you've got your Dacos, both Dacos boys. You've got Darcy Moore down back, but I want to talk about Darcy Cameron. I think his influence in the side, especially over the last 3 seasons, has been phenomenal. So he's in my player spotlight today. So if you've got best alert, that's mad. That's mad. So if you guys have any questions and stuff like that, please just chuck them in. Just chuck them in the chat, and like I'll answer pretty much everything within reason. So so Darcy Cameron's the good one that I want to talk about tonight. Obviously, we picked him up from Sydney. Everyone knows his story. I don't need to go on about like where he came from and all that stuff. But you look at the 2022 season, really influential. 2023, he in the game against Richmond, I think it was round 3 we played against them. I could be wrong. So he fucks his knee, right? We lose Cameron. And then Cox goes down with that sternum injury, the bleeding, and all that type of crap. Yeah. We have Ash Johnson and we have Billy Frampton holding the fort in the ruck. Now, I've said this in previous videos, but how important Darcy Cameron, or the Cox and Cameron combination, essentially, but how important he was. When he came back, we won a premiership. And I don't think people understand, outside Collingwood people, understand how valuable he is. We haven't had a proper tap ruckman since Darren Jolly. And when we got Jolly, we won the flag. Now, along with this player spotlight, we've obviously got like Ilra Smith and Steen, who I don't think is going to be a ruckman. I think he'll probably go more into like key position eventually. Smith will probably be our next ruckman. But you got to understand from an outside perspective, looking into a side, how important he is for our structure, because he can go up forward. You can probably chuck him down back if you need to, but he rucks all around the ground. And the best part about it, he's got a lot of versatility on the ground too. Like you can see him going into a pack, similar to the Brodie Grundy. I do think Grundy was probably better on the ground than what Darcy Cameron is, but the general ruck work and the tap ruck, that stuff that he does is huge. And you look at our season last year, it felt like he had to carry the entire side the whole time. And I thought he was so stiff in not getting the spot in the All-Australian team. Now, Max Gawn, yeah, amazing ruckman, whatever. But you look at the season Melbourne had, and you look at the games Gawn had, I'm pretty sure Gawn had like a down period in the middle of the season as well, where he wasn't really that effective. And I think he probably just got the jacket because it was Max Gawn. But if you look at what like Sherry did for North Melbourne, right, he was stiff as well. And like I do think Cameron's probably a better ruckman than Sherry, but he had an awesome season too. So you can't discount all that, all that sort of things. But what would Darcy Cameron provide us this season? Now, I think this is the season where he's going to go that next level, and I think he will break into the All-Australian side, simply because now there's more pressure for Darcy Cameron to perform because he's got people ready to take his spot. And I don't think he has had that almost his entire time at Collingwood. And I think it hasn't been mentioned. And I've been watching other content creators and having conversations with people. And this is one point that never, ever gets brought up. And I'd like to hear what people think about this stuff, because last year he had Cox that wasn't really competing for his spot. It was helping him out. In 2023, he didn't have Cox competing for his spot. He had Cox helping him out. Cox had to get into the side regardless on his own accord to try and play forward, to try and, help out in the ruck. And obviously with McStay going down for the majority of that season, then obviously, it sort of played in his favour, I suppose. But having players like Aiden Begg push for your spot, you're going to play consistent football, really. So this season, he's got young players. He's got Smith. He's got Steen. Then he's got Cox, right, who's going for a spot. And then obviously you've got Cameron. But on the flip side to it, you've also got players like Billy Frampton, who's pushing for a spot, who can help out in the ruck. You got 3 tools down forward, which is going to put more pressure on Mason Cox, right? Then on top of that, you've got a player waiting for his opportunity in Ash Johnson, who's obviously not going to get much. Obviously, he's been put on the rookie list, and you doubt he'd play, and he'll be in the forward line anyway. But if the domino effect happens and we get these players missing, you've got Frampton and Johnson, who are the backup to the backup, who have held the fort, and one of them's a premiership player, And like, I don't think Ash Johnson will get a fair crack this season, but we're finally seeing, which we haven't, and this is where I throw the theory in the bin that everyone's had about our aging list. And big deal, like we're half a year older than the next aging list. We're a year older than what Geelong were, and Geelong won Geelong won a flag and probably should have won 2, or come close to winning another 2 with the same demographic that we've got, right? Finally, we've got a list, not just in the ruck, but in other areas that are competing for the same spot. And I think that's something that we really need to like focus on regardless. My missus has finished playing Sims now. Thanks, babe. But what I want to see is the young boys pushing Darcy Cameron even more, because a fully fit Darcy Cameron and Mason Cox coming into the team is only going to make us better. And I do think they're both getting our best 23 regardless. So I want to hear people's thoughts on that. I want you guys to tell me, what do you think in regards to that? Are we going to see one of the tools miss out? You know, what's the vibe that everyone's sort of feeling in regards to that? Darcy Cameron's in my spotlight at the moment. I decided to do a live to talk about that because something different. But feel free to leave some comments. I'd love to hear what people have to say about Darcy Cameron. And do you think that he should have been put into the All-Australian team last season? And take your biased Collingwood hat off for a minute. I know it's hard sometimes. I mean, I fucking struggle to do it. But take your bias hat off and think like his work around the ground, his contested marking and stuff like that. Should he have been in there? My theory is, I think for his first breakout season, the way he did, being in the squad was probably a pass mark regardless. I don't think Gawn should have got it. I think it should have been between Cameron and Cherry. Personal opinion. But you can't discard how good Max Gawn is as well. But you look at where we were on the ladder and, you know, it is what it is. So take a Collingwood G-string off and let's get ready to party. Flag Pies 25, you maggot. How good. That's gross. I don't know how to highlight and stuff. Oh, here we go. Show. Can it show? There we go. Have a look at that. I'm getting good at this YouTube shit, eh? This is mad. This is awesome. Give me some question, guys. Okay, I'm finally finished the dishes. Good. Here we go. That's madness. I love it. Yeah, I've been wanting to do this for ages, and I've had a few people ask me, you know, you should get on and do this. I did a live with Cass from Pies Footy a few months back on this, but it was just straight into his onto his YouTube, which is a pretty cool experience. But yeah, I think I'm at the point now where I can probably do some of these, do a video, and then maybe schedule one live a week and see how we go. It's obviously basic StreamYard stuff. I'm not paying $100 a month or whatever it is, $50 a month for it. I'm not at that level, but definitely this is something that I want to do more. Shout out to here we go. So I'll get to that in a second. Doritos or CCs. Look, Doritos, CCs fucking smell like piss. But anyway, I believe our defense. We'll just show these comments and stuff. I believe our defense is better than last year's. Well, we'll finish with the Darcy Cameron spotlight. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Cameron that I've spoken about. I'm going to get into a bit of a rant in a second, so if I can buckle up and get the popcorn out, because you know this is I want this to fucking come out because this is a strong opinion I've got. But whatever. I believe our defense is better than last year. 100% our defense is going to be better than last year. I mean, putting Dan Houston in there, it's basically having like another Nick Dacos in your back line. I mean, I know we compare everything to Nick Dacos, and so we should. He is the fucking god. But having someone like Dan Houston fit straight in into that back line, who you probably think is going to play midfield minutes, it's going to be interesting. And I've thought about this quite heavily over the last couple of days. It's going to be interesting now that Tom Mitchell's got that foot injury, the foot injury. He might not be available for opening round. So, you know, he's in our best 23 if he's fully fit. And the way he was training, he looked like he was in beast mode. Yeah, 100%. So what I want to know is how exactly who's going to play that inside mid role? Who's going to play the Luke Ball role that we had in 2010? You know, after Luke Ball went, we had obviously Jared Blair doing that. We had Taylor Adams doing that. Now we've got, you know, Tom Mitchell doing that. Who's going to be the inside play? Is it going to be someone like a Dan Houston? But he's too valuable off the half back. Is it going to be someone like, I personally think, I don't think it's going to be Perryman. I think Perryman's going to play on the wing. I think Josh Dacos is the person to do it. Now, it can't be Crisp. It can't be Hoskin Elliott. He's an outside runner. I don't think he's got a hard ball getting his whole career, even though, I think he's the perfect personification of Collingwood. But I really think that that Josh Dacos might play that inside mid role, which allows Houston then to stay on the half back and then rotate as we go, because Geordie's going to go in the middle and rotate in the forward. That's another point I wanted to make. I think Geordie and Dan Houston are going to have very similar roles, but on the opposite ends of the ground. So Geordie will rotate in the middle, go in the half forward, or potentially in the forward pocket, and Houston will go on the back line and rotate in the middle. But can you imagine if you've got a midfield of Pendlebury, Houston, Nick Dacos, and Jordan De Goey in there, plus Cameron in ruck? Stop it. It's too many players. But anyway, what's next? So I touched on that one. What's this one here? So Q or Houston for All Australian this year? I think Houston will still, if everything happens, Houston will definitely be All Australian. But I want to see Q get back into the squad. You look at the way that he's done his preseason and stuff like that, and you look at the yo-yo tests and the way he's training and the different mentality they've got going. And remember, there's no premiership hangover. It's not like, yeah, we're just celebrating still. Now it's like we want it again. So the hunger and the desire, I think, is there. So I reckon Q, if you can get into the squad, he's had a gun season. Shout out to Into the Woods. Listen to their podcast if you can on Spotify. Now, just quickly before I answer or respond to this, so Into the Woods did their last podcast on the 12th of Jan, right? And they had this little segment. It was like a Who Am I segment, right? And on that part of the segment, they had like 5 points to do. If you guess the player, 4 points if you guess the player. So the amount of times you ask the questions, the least amount of points you got. On the second one, I got it. I was driving, I was listening to it. It was Ben Hudson. I'm thinking to myself, fuck, remember Ben Hudson? I remember when he played in a Collingwood VFL game at Victoria Park, and I went and I watched. He had some of the best, like most insulting banter to the opposition. It wasn't funny. I wish we had him a little bit more. I wish he spent more time at Collingwood. But while I'm here, guys, get on Into the Woods podcast. It's on YouTube. It's pretty awesome. I love Darcy, and I think everything you just said is spot on, but I still think he's third in the line to Max and Sherry. Probably, but not based on last season. I think Sherry and Cameron had a better season than Gawn. Gawn had a few standout games, but I think the other two are more consistent. Now that I think about it, Sherry did have a small patch when North were really shit in the middle, but I still think they were probably more consistent over the longevity of the season, and probably because Gawn had a few games and stuff, a few games, they gave it to him, but nevertheless, it is what it is. But on paper, I think he's second, just quietly. I was on footy. Nice. How do I tip? Send me a picture of your feet first, and I'll find out if they're good enough. Serious guns in the back line. Jimbo, we've got a whole team of some really good standout players. Our back line, I think, with knowing that we're not going to play Markov the whole season and that we've made the trade of John Noble to get Houston in, it changes the whole dynamic. But I want to see Jacob Ryan and TJ get a fair crack this season because, to be honest, they're the next in line. I know you got Charlie Dean and Billy Frampton, and I think Frampton will play a fair bit of games, and Frampton's stiff not to be in our best 23. I mean, we've got probably 30 players that can fit in that best 23, and Frampton is pretty stiff not to be there. And I think he'll probably be the next in line if we get an injury. But our backline is looking really good, but I still think it's our weakest part of our team. So yeah. Guys, I'm just going to take a break for 2 seconds. Don't leave. Don't leave anywhere. I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to take a piss break. Just give me 2 seconds. Yeah, because I'm about to piss my pants. Just keep chatting in the chat. Don't leave, all right? Give me 2 seconds. All right. So, major apologies about that. That had to just a quick siphon of the Python. All right. This is the comment. This is the one. It's like we've got two Dacoses now at the stoppages, but you know what? You know what the best part about that is too? Someone like Bo McCreary, because Bo McCreary is going to add to that with his pressure. So whether he plays half forward, half back, gets a goal on the wing, he goes into the stoppages, like he goes into the middle at all the stoppages around the ground. He's done it for the last 2 seasons. Last year he did it heaps. Whenever there's a ball up or whatever around the ground, you'll see him go straight in as that fifth midfielder, exactly the way that Nick Dacos did it in 22, where he started on the half back line and then he rotated in. So all of a sudden, you've got another midfielder added there, and then you got some fucking half forward who now has to play a half back tagging role on one of the best midfielders in the comp. And I think now, this season, with the injection of Houston, it creates more havoc for other teams. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I think it's going to be hard to stop. Cameron is untouchable as our number one ruck, and the other boys are competing against Cox for the second ruck spot. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I still think Smith will get a go this season. And now that Cox has obviously gone back to the States for whatever reason is, whatever that reason is, I'm not sure if he's going to be straight away as our second ruck, but you'd like to think so, that he's not going to be gone for too long. Ed Allen over Titch. Well, if you look at my best 23, I mean, Titch, I think I had him missing out, and I tried to explain it, and then I regretted my decision and stuff like that. And now that with the foot injury, it's not like I told you so or anything like that, but it's more of a, I think he's going to be right on the brink of breaking in. He's got to get his body right. All right, I'll touch base on some of the comments back in a minute. But I want to go on my little rant. So this is where it's going to get a bit fired up. And it's about the scumbags. It's about Carlton. So I'm sorry. I've just got to put this out there. Obviously, we had at the end of 2021, we had like the Do Better report and all that stuff, which I'm not going to go into. You look at how much focus was on the Collingwood president at that time. You look at how much focus was on the football club in general, and then you even look at the whole, even just the saga about choosing a GM of football in the last, pretty much the whole trade period, right? There's been more attention on Derek Hine getting sacked from Collingwood, right, than there has about the Carlton president doing what he did. Now, I've got to be careful because I don't want to get cut off. I don't know how it works or anything like that. So I'm just going to put this out there. Can you imagine, right? Can you imagine if this was a Collingwood GM, a Collingwood president, a Collingwood assistant coach, a Collingwood player or whatever doing this, doing what Sayers did? Can you imagine if it was Collingwood? Why? And I was listening. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't agree a lot with what Kane Corn says on SEN. I don't agree with all his opinions, and it's obviously when the whole bias Collingwood part comes into play. But there's sometimes he'll say something, and I'm just like, "Fuck, he's right." Exactly, Manny. Just imagine if it was Eddie Maguire. Now, I can imagine if that was Eddie Maguire. Not the actual picture of Eddie Maguire, but I can imagine if something like that happened with Eddie Maguire, because you look at all the shit that he went through. Did he stay as president too long? It's a total different thing. But the concept of the clubs, right? If this happened to us, right? Mate, the AFL would probably kick us out of the comp. I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but it's such a different level. This is arguably, in my opinion, the second biggest club in the competition, one of the most powerful clubs in the competition, especially over the last couple of years, right? Why is there so much silence about this? Why is there no commentary from the AFL media, from anybody? Now, is it because it's off season? But then I think about it, if it was, yeah, we are clickbait for the AFL, but if it's the off season and people are fucking scrounging for a story, I mean, Clayton Oliver at Melbourne trained and everyone was freaking out that he's training. Like, who gives a fuck? But if this was a Collingwood person, regardless of the time of the year that it would happen, right, it would be box office news, right? Why is it different? I know we're the clickbait. I know we're the money-making machine, but this is a massive thing, yeah? This is, regardless if he's innocent or whatever, he had to step down. I just don't understand why there is so much silence from the media about it when we are at a time where it's the boring part. I mean, this is the boring part of the year where teams are training, people are like, just watching players, waiting for a story, fingers crossed no one gets fucking injured, all this bullshit. You've got all this fucking hype about Tony Jones and Novak Djokovic and the Serbian thing. Yeah, he's a bit of a dick, whatever, he said this, that. But this is a bigger story. This is, for Australian sport, this is a massive story. And for me, it just shows the level of difference between us and the others. We are here. There is absolute fucking daylight between everybody else. And there's Carlton, Richmond, Essendon, Hawthorn, fucking whatever. Right? That's my rant. Manny, just shows how much of a bigger club we are than Carlton. Exactly. And if there is Carlton people that are going to get on and watch this and whatever, and they're fuck you, blah, blah, this is that Collingwood, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. Say what you want. I don't care. But at the end of the day, the difference between us and everybody else, it's a non-compete. There is just daylight everywhere. And I'm finding it hard to understand just in general. Like, I know we're better and bigger than everybody else, like just as a size of a club and everything, but I'm really struggling to find why the media just shuts up about this and there's nothing being said. So I was going to rant about this in a video, but I thought, nah, fuck it, I'm going to do a live. I'm going to say it there because it just needs to be said. Like, and other content creators are shutting up about it, like not Collingwood ones, well, we are, other ones are, but like just in general, no one's saying anything about it. Blue Broad came out and made a video today or yesterday. Terry came out from there, and like I respect Terry a lot. Like, I've known him for a while, and he's done amazing with that channel. So that's the only credit I'm going to give Carlton. But and they posted the video and stuff, and they've had a horrible off season. Like, I know this is a Collingwood channel, but they've had a horrible off season with injuries. McKay's fucked his shoulder. Curno's got his fucking knee. Nick Newman now fucking fucked his knee up or whatever. Like, and then this on top. I mean, how good is it? And I know George from RCCS posted today, the club statement thing. How good is it not seeing a club statement thing pop up? Like, it's refreshing, but at the same time, I don't understand how the media just decides to shut up about everything. Like, I just think it's crap. But so let's go back to the comments. Same as this thing will cover up, but when Geordie stuffs up, it's all over the news. Well, that's another thing too. I mean, you look at how Geordie, what he did in Bali in, what was it, 2022 or 2023? I don't know. Like, and you look at it, and I just think to myself, like, really, is it like that's a story? And you berate a guy like the way that we did with Geordie as a club, as the AFL community, and then you look at what the Carlton president's done, and the silence. I mean, fuck, if it was in season and Footy Classified was on, is Caroline Wilson going to fucking talk about it? Like, is she even still on there? I don't know. But be interesting. Terry called him a courageous man for stepping down. He had no choice. Like, he had to step down. He had to step down as president. There was just no... You couldn't do anything unless it came out that it wasn't him, and it was like they found the hacker, they found something, and all the stories lined up, and it was just a real shit thing that happened. Even then, you'd think, nah, like, it's too big of a deal. Swoop Luke popped. Pop. Let's say hello. Smashing it, brother. Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. I wanted to get down to training tomorrow, but I've still got to do some work from home, so I'm probably going to have to give it a miss tomorrow. But over the next couple of weeks, I'll be heading back to training. I've only been able to get to one just with work and stuff. It's been too busy and stuff with the family as well. We need to see the hunger at full peak. All passengers must be dropped. I think that's been the case for the entirety of the last couple of seasons with the passengers, but we've just been decimated with injuries. Now, I mean, you look at clubs like Richmond, and yeah, all right, they were probably going to finish towards the bottom anyway last season. But if you look at a general whole, I mean, they had 18 of their starting 23 players all injured. That's pretty big. Like that's really that's massive. We had 17 at one stage, and we missed the finals by percentage. We missed the finals because Sullivan handed the ball back to the umpire. That's what we missed the finals by. Or we should have fucking smashed North Melbourne. But it is what it is. Just grab a coffee at training when you can. Yeah, I'll be getting a just off the side topic. Lately, I've been getting into the vanilla shots in the coffee. I don't know why. Like, I have to have lactose-free milk. I just, like, if I have full cream milk, forget it. I won't be able to watch any training, and the facilities at the club is shit. You've got to go to Amy Park and fund Melbourne and fucking Melbourne Victory. You know, like, it's just, no, thank you. But we'll definitely grab one. Has there been any news about the Liam Ryan punch-up from Interstate? I'm not touching this one. I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. Like, you just can't. I know I'm politically incorrect, but I'm going to hold back on this one, especially with the week that's coming by. I just don't want to go near that. But regardless, just imagine if he played in a Collingwood jumper. But yeah, I'm going to shut up about that. And there's been no other news. I haven't seen anything since that stuff's come out. Vanilla shots are good, but caramel is the GOAT. You know what? Fuck it. I'll try it tomorrow. I've got to drop off my son at daycare. There's a cafe at Sunbury Square. It's a really good one. Indian bloke named Peter. I think that's his name. He's awesome. I'll get him to change up, and he's going to look at me. You know, when you go to someone for a coffee, I know this is not football related, but I've got to say this anyway. You know, when you go somewhere at the same place all the time for a coffee, and then one random day you've been going there every day for the past year and a half, 2 years, and they just know your order, they're about to punch it in, and then you say no, and you change it, and all of a sudden then you get, like, instead of a vanilla shot, you get a caramel shot, or you don't want a latte, you want a cappuccino, and they look at you like, what? That's what he's going to look at me like. I'll film it too. I should do a vlog about my coffee changing. Noel Bolter punch up also. Yep, there's that one there. Who was the other Richmond player? Was it Bolter, or was it somebody else from Richmond got done 4 weeks? I think it was Bolter got done 4 weeks for getting into a punch up. What do you want to see from Fly this season? Same as usual, something new? Look, this is a good one because I actually mentioned this in one of my videos a while ago, right at the start. I think I mentioned this. I don't want to see. I'm all about us with the whole winning thing. Like I'm all about us with the whole like winning mentality and stuff. And like I'm like, you know, if that's the way it works, that's the way it works. I think what I want to see more is instead of being happy and loving, and I'm not going to say soft because we won a flag and you can't be soft to win a flag, and we play the minutes like they say, and you know, we took the steps and we did everything right, and everyone bought in, and they're still buying into always wanting to be winners and stuff. But I want to see the see you next Tuesday. I want us to bully teams. I still think in 2023 when we won the flag, and if I'm wrong, you guys can tell me, I still think even when we won the flag in 2023, we didn't bully teams. We just toyed with them and we nipped them at the end. You know, all needed 22, 23, and some of 24. We needed a fucking defibrillator with our memberships. I want us to be a see you next Tuesday type of team. I want us to just show, hey, listen, you know, like this is our jumper. We're one of those teams that, and I see it a lot in, the English Premier League, for example. I've noticed teams that wear black clothing, black teams, they're real bullyish the way they play football. And I want to see that with us this year. And I want to see Fly have the same mentality within the club circle, within the club, you know, their mantra, their persona, you know, with each other. I want to see them be loving and supporting and have fun and stuff. But when you cross that line, and this is what we do in local footy at Roxy, when you cross that line, right, you switch on. It changes. I want us to be the bullies. I want other teams to be like not scared and intimidated because there's 90,000 people chanting Collingwood and throwing abuse over the fence and whatever, because we play our part every week, yeah? I just want to see us be a real bully team and make opposition players and stuff like that, or say, oh, fuck, we were scared of them this week, or, you know, they bullied us on the field, or, you know, they manhandled us. I don't want us to be the pussyfoot team that just scrapes by. Look, if it wins us a flag, do it. But that's what I want to see. I want to see us become more grunt in us with the way we talk, with the way we strut on the field, and the way we attack the ball. You know, that's what I want Fly to implement. That's the change that I want this season. Braybrook and Middle Footscray. Jesus, no, that's the Western Region Football League. Yeah, no, I play in the EDFL. I played in the Northern Footy League in the EDFL. I haven't played in the West. We need to be ruthless and put teams away. Look, it'd be nice to go to a game and put a side away, even just once every month. It'd be nice to go to a game and put a team away by like 50 points. Yeah, just 50, not even 100, just 50 points, you know, or just be comfortable in the last quarter where we can be like, hey, we're 40 points up in the last quarter. They've kicked a few goals. We've kicked a couple back. It's consistently, we're just smashing them throughout the game, and it's fine. Like, fuck, man. Like, Gather Round last year. Jesus Christ, man. Like, I mean, there was one passage of playing Gather Round last year. Bobby Hill gets the ball in that last quarter, snaps it and misses. He kicks that goal. Hawthorn are done. Speaking of which, did we see the Wizards market training today? I mean, calm down, bro. It's training, yeah? Sort of wish he broke his arm on the way down, but whatever. The last game I went to was the Bombers Pies in 2023, and we smashed them by 70 points. So that was August the 25th. This is how much of a nerd I am, but there's a reason why I remember it. August the 25th, 2023. They kicked, 3 goals the whole game. I think by halftime, they were 1 goal something. End of the first quarter, I think we were 9 or 10 goals. Isaac Quainer looked like he was the Energizer Bunny. But that game, that was the best game for us. So my theory, that game won us the premiership. And people will say, why? And I've said this before in conversations. We went through that training block where we lost to Hawthorn. Nick Dacos got injured. We got beaten by Carlton. We ended up then we beat somebody else. We beat Geelong by 8 or 9 points or whatever it was. And then we played Brisbane, and we lost to Brisbane by 24 points at Marvel. And we actually didn't play that bad. And we had a 15-goal game and we still lost. Played them at the G. I think it might have been a bit different, but whatever. And then we played Essendon in the last game. That game played us back into form. The only shit part about it was that we had the week off right after. And I think that was if the finals had been directly the week after and there wasn't a break, we don't beat Melbourne by 7 points. We beat Melbourne by 8-9 goals in that qualifying final. Just people need to thank Essendon for that game, because I think that game played us into form, and we carried that all the way through the finals. And the reason why I remember that game so well, that was the game I missed because I moved into my new house. Me and my missus bought this house, and we moved in, and I said to her, I'm going to go to the game. By the time, it was probably 3 hours before the game started, and I was supposed to start slowly getting ready, I passed out as soon as we put the bed together, I passed out on the bed. I was finished. Need top-end fitness level to bullying other teams. Yeah, but I mean, that's just, I mean, you can time you can time things, you time your run in a game and stuff like that. I mean, you can't bully teams 24/7 throughout a game, but there's moments of games where even if they're in the balance, you have your match winners that come on, like a Jordan De Goey, who can just knock someone out, and not actually knock someone out, but he can just burst through a pack and do a play that can finish a game off. Like Dacos does it, Pendles can do it, Saidi can still do it, De Goey's the master at it. And I think we need to do that in moments in every quarter and really fuck with the teams a bit. And when I say bully teams too, mentally drain the opposition from the get-go. And that doesn't require fitness, physical fitness. It's just yap, be smart, and suck them in. Do something stop being so nice. Suck them in, jump a punch, this is that. Get physical with them, and then they give away the free kick, and then they turn it over and they lose their minds. I mean, everyone's only human at the end of the day. I want to see us do more of that. I want us to get the bullshit 50-meter free kicks that we never get. I want us to get the bullshit free kick where Mason Cox or Brody Myercheck are getting manhandled in the forward 50, and we get the stupid free kick that we never get, so we can kick some easy fucking goals. That fucks with an opposition's head, and you've got to initiate that contact as well. So I sound like a coach now, but that's the type of stuff that I want to see. The players look leaner and fitter this season. IQ, I'm thinking we're aiming to have the ability to run over teams this season. I would like to see us run over the teams than do that we're going to have games this season where we're just going to, be neck and neck with them, and then they'll jump ahead, and then we'll get them right at the end. It's going to happen. It happens every year. You can't say, oh, is it going to happen again? No, it has to happen again. That's our DNA. That's who we are. But I want that to happen less and less and less, and not against Esther, not against Carlton, not against Richmond, not against Hawthorn, not against the big Victorian teams. I mean, North was, I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest, but hopefully we can just consistently run over teams, and even if they're boring games and we just win by 20 points, 25 points, an average 22-point margin, I'll take that every day a week than a 1-point thriller, because it just ages you. I've lost my hair because of this shit over the last couple of years. Last chance for Finn and Reef. Reef, I'm not sure about. Reef, I think, if he can nail this backline position, he probably won't play every week, but if he can nail this backline position, then I'm pretty sure that he should be able to consistently get a spot. And you've got to take into consideration that, if there is an injury here and there, he'd probably be the next one. We were also missing easy kicks at goals last year. Fuck me, 20 metres out, done my head in. Yeah, and I think this season, Membry's going to be the perfect input with that too. You got to remember when Jamie played, Jamie was 5'10". Jamie Elliott and Lockie Schultz are the same height, right? But Jamie Elliott plays as a tall forward the way he has to play because we had nothing. And that's why that's probably why his body's just so fucking battered and bruised half the time. And that'll affect your goal kicking and shit too. So I'm hoping that, with Membry coming into the side now, the dynamic there changes and he can play more of that Schultz pressure role and then obviously go for goal after that. We'll have to get your take on how much midfield time Perriman will get as a percentage split this season. I don't think it's going to be too much of a percentage split this season. I think he's going to be playing. I think Perriman will. You're right. It'll be a halfback or wing, but I've got Perriman on the wing. I think Perriman on the wing, and I'll have Josh Dacos on the halfback with Dan Houston on the other halfback. So, I think that's probably the way they're going to go. And Pendlebury will rotate in that position as well. So you'd hate to be a Collingwood selector because I can pick now, and I reckon a lot of people can. I reckon I can do 2 or 3 variations of our best 23, and most of them will have the same players. And the best part about it, like I said at the start of this live, with our depth and all that type of stuff, like we've got players now, not so much with depth as well. We've got players that can play different types of roles. But I think we need to get to these set positions first, and we need to lock down on Perryman is going to play on the wing. Perryman is going to play on the half-back line, choose. And that's what he focuses on. And then if it doesn't work, then you rotate it. We've got the luxury now where you can have Nick Dacos play in the midfield half-back, Jordan De Goey midfield half-forward, Dan Houston midfield half-back. Fucking, you could probably even, like Jack Crisp, midfield half-back. Hoskin Elliott can play literally any spot in the thing. If you look at my last video where he is the Swiss Army knife, he is the perfect role player at Collingwood. He was in my spotlight. He can play in any position. But then you've got the likes of Will Parker, Harvey Harrison. When he comes back in, he can play on the midfield. If you need to, he can play in the forward line. Bo McCreary, Ed Allen is going to go straight into the wing, right? I actually think that moving forward, if the wing position is locked in between Perryman and potentially a Bo McCreary or anyone else in the thing, and Ed Allen's fighting for that spot, I see Ed Allen in the next 2 or 3 years potentially being an intercept defender off the halfback. But that's just my personal view. I'm picking Allen and Parker to have breakout seasons and be regulars this season. My dark horse is the player that surprises everyone and plays 10-plus games is Hayes. I just don't think there's enough spot there for Hayes. The first part of that, 100% I agree with Hayes. I think he gets a gig, but I don't know if he plays 10-plus games unless there's injuries. I think with his size, he's going to be a young player that he'll probably win our VFL best and fairest. Judging from what you've seen, all the footage and stuff you've seen at training, I reckon he'll come close to winning our VFL BNF. And that's because of the not so much the run and carry, but if you look at his highlights, you look at the stuff he's done at training, and I went to his first training, and it looked like he'd been training with us for 2 years on his first session. His groundwork, the way he scooped the ball up and gave off the first option, or his awareness and stuff like that, for a young kid, his scrawny size, I mean, put a bit of beef on him. Hello. This is a good one. Do you think we play 2 tall forwards on the field and one on the bench to rotate, or all 3 on the field at once? Personal opinion, all 3 on the field at once, and Cox and Cameron in the team. We have a lot of mid-size running smaller players, and I just think the combination between Cameron and Cox works too well. But then having the dynamic of McStay, Myercheck, Membry, Elliott, Hill, McCreary. I mean, why can't we have 25 players playing in the team? You know what I mean? I think Perryman will play a defensive inside midfield role, rotating with Pendles. I think Pendles will probably start on the bench this season most games. Don't be surprised if you see Pendles being nurtured more as a sub at some games, and maybe not even travel too much interstate depending on who we're playing. That's a personal opinion. I think they're going to preserve him, and then he peaks right at the end. But his training standards now, like next level. I mean, the bloke's like 37, going to be 37. Well, he's 37. I'm turning 36 in a few months. And like last season with footy, I was playing thirds at EDFL Friday nights. You know, it's basically a mix between under 18s and supers. And I was cooked. This guy's a year and a half older than me, and he's at the top elite level. It's just what he's doing at Collingwood is just in his football career. I mean, I want him to go 2 more seasons. This is another point I wanted to make. I'm going to put it into another video too, but I'll just touch on it now. I think Mick Moldhouse said this as well. Collingwood can't afford to lose Sidebottom, Howe, and Pendlebury in one hit. We can't afford to lose those 3 players at the end of this season going into 2026. It'll do too much damage to our team. I think we can lose 2, we can lose 1, but no matter what season they pull the pin, We can't lose all three of them together. I don't think we're going to be able to cop the hit with the leadership group like that. I would say Howe this season. I would say Sidey into end of 26, and if Pendles can go till the end of 2027, or Howe this season, Pendles next season, Sidey year after that, Sidey can play till he's 35. And he pushes himself to hit the 400 mark, because I don't think that Sidey, if Sidebottom was at any other team, right? If Sidey was at any other team, like a Carlton, Essendon, a Hawthorn, a Richmond, he would be their greatest ever player, right? I mean, obviously at Richmond, because if he played with them and had the same career and had 3 flags, I mean, 100%. But the only reason why Sidey, in my opinion, isn't Collingwood's greatest ever player is because he's playing behind the greatest ever player at Collingwood. And I just hold him so high up there. I mean, he's not a Buckley type player, but just his consistency, his longevity over his career, and what he's done for the club. If that was at any other club, he'd be their best player ever. Sean, welcome to the chat. Oh, you missed a fair bit, man. It's 51 minutes, but this is my first. I can't believe how many people I've got in here. This is awesome for my first live. I was going to post a video tonight and stuff like that, but I posted one yesterday, so I thought, I might try this live stream out. So, and then I'm going to try and get some more people in on it as well. Over the closer to the season starts, potentially, I'm working on it, but the 3 main content creators at Collingwood, so like Swoop, Anthony, myself, I really want us to get on a live on this on one person's channel. Like I don't care whose it is, and have like an hour discussion leading into the season. I want to have a roundtable of some pretty high profile Collingwood supporters as well. And like, you know, they do sometimes on like for the NRL, for the A-League on Fox Sports, have like a roundtable and they discuss. Well, I want to do that on this with like there's 3 people talking and just leading right into the opening round, like a few days beforehand, like when the season's like just about to go. So there's a few things that I really want to get on to do on this channel. Obviously I started this channel sort of like in the finals towards the end of 2024. And, you know, I said to myself, I want to try and get, you know, 500 followers by opening round or round 1 of the 2025 season. And I actually got 500 followers by Christmas. So, you know, people like the shit that I talk, which is grouse. So hopefully that can continue. Sean, you are one of them, so don't stress it. I was referring to you. Rick said that Cox and Sidey will retire this year and Mitchell. Look, I don't want Mitchell to retire because I don't think he's had the run that he should have had. Like, it's like Luke Ball when he came to Collingwood, right? He had that knee injury and it stopped. I think it was the 2012 or 2013 season, and then he came back for a bit and then he retired. So like we missed the final encore of Luke Ball. Like he came, he won the flag for us. He had a really good season the year after, and then he did his knee, and it was just a bittersweet ending to like the fairy tale. And then he came back, but as I said, it wasn't the same. He retired just after. I think Mitchell's following that footsteps, and the weird part about it is he plays in the same position. He plays the same style game as what Luke Ball did. And if Mitchell didn't have any injuries last season, and he looks like he will be like, you know, pretty good after he gets over this one here. Can he go another year? I hope so. But the common thought I think would be that he probably will. Sidey, I hope he doesn't. I really want to see Sidey go another 2. With that being said, and I'll put this out to everybody, if we were to get up this season, and I don't want to talk about like, you know, we're going to win it, this is that, but if we were to get up this season, would we accept the fact as a Collingwood community, and on top of that, the AFL community, would we accept the fact that we'd lose Cox, Mitchell, Howe, Pendles, and Sidey, and potentially someone like a Jamie Elliott, even a Hoskin Elliott, all in one hit if we win the flag. Fucking oath. I'll take a flag any day of the week. Fuck that. I don't care. Put yourself. That's my opinion, but like, put yourself in the Richmond supporter point of view. You won 3 out of. Well, you probably could have won 4 flags, and you won 3 of them, right? And you won 3 of them convincingly, right? You're going to go through 5 to 8 years of shit, but draft all these fucking guns and catapult up right when Tasmania are coming into the competition. I'd take that. Oh, who's going to say no to 3 flags? You know? Yeah, 100%, Sean. 100%. The injury is a serious one, though. I hope he hits prime again. But the older he gets, the harder it is. I think because he's done the hard work now, his body's probably in a better condition to recover from the injury. If he was having if this injury happened to him at the start of last season, when we were still having that premiership hangover, no chance. No chance. Pull the pin. Okay, 100% agree. We need to stagger retirements. Howe and Cox after this season. I think we definitely call it quits. We need to stagger retirement. Siding Pendles and Mitchell over the 2 years. Yeah, pretty much exactly what I said. I don't. It's just sad to see, man. Like, we're going to go through. Eventually, we're going to go through the period where it's like, you know, we're going to be mid-table. I don't think we're going to bottom out. You know, like, what do you guys think? Do you think that we're going to bottom out like Richmond did? I think we are the carbon copy of what Geelong are doing, and these guys are going to go. And now we've got 2 drafts to utilise, and we don't have to utilise the draft that much. We haven't in the past. We've been blessed with the father-son side of things, right? We haven't really utilised the draft too much in the past. I don't think we've utilised the draft really 110% since we got Moore and De Goey, and that was because of the Beams trade. You know, like that's just. We haven't really utilised it, but then we've played off since then in 2 grand finals, 2 prelim finals. You know, like, I don't think it's be all and end all. The only difference is we've got a fair bit of like mature age players that like more than usual. But if we can stagger that and get the other guys up, it should be a pretty seamless transition. This will be the last one, and then I got to go. Here's one for it. Will Pendles go into our coaching staff or like training staff like Nathan Murphy? So I don't think Pendles. I'll finish off with this. I don't think Pendles coaches Collingwood. I would love to see it. Maybe in the future after Fly goes. I'm a bit hesitant about the Collingwood person taking over the Collingwood job, if that makes sense. It hasn't worked in the past. But I don't see Pendles being the coach of or assistant coach of Collingwood. I think Pendles goes to a Hawthorn, a Melbourne. I think he stays in Melbourne itself. He potentially goes to a Richmond or something like that as an assistant, learns a new football club environment, and then goes to a senior coach. He'll be a senior coach, 100%. I'm thinking potentially like the Tasmanian job is got Scott Pendlebury all over it. I can see Scott Pendlebury, Jeremy Howe, and a Jack Riewoldt being the 3 coaches, like going into that. Like Howe being the defensive coach, Pendles being the senior coach, and someone like a Jack Riewoldt being the forward coach of that Tasmanian outfit for the first 5 years. Like I can just see it happening. So, guys, I'm going to call it quits from here. We've been here for an hour. This is my first live. I can't believe how cool this was. The most I had in this chat was 32. Just want to say, now that I can while I'm live, thank you everyone for the support, for the comments. Thanks everyone for tuning into my videos and stuff like that. So far, it's been awesome. The feedback I'm getting from players, the feedback I'm getting from people in general is really good. So thank you so much, everyone. If you can get down, the boys are training tomorrow. But until next time, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Call it as you see it. And as always, go the Pies.